shall we do it? Shall we take a look, ladies and gentlemen, at the schedule? Break it down a little bit. I'll share some of my expectations, which are probably the same as your expectations, as there isn't a huge amount of interpretation you can get from this, but we can break it down together and make some guesses about what we're going to see at CitizenCon next week. The universe we create. Venue opens at 9 and then 11 a.m. The first presentation begins, which is Brave New Worlds. Now, I don't think they've... Last year it opened with Chris Roberts, right? Introduction, presentation, Star Engine. This, I don't know if that's going to be like in the evening now, or are we going like... There has to be some sort of opening presentation. This one is 11 o'clock till 1, so I guess 11 till 1 there's time for that as well. You know, I guess there's time for that as well. So maybe they'll be squishing that in with the Brave New Worlds. But Brave New Worlds is, I'm going to say it's a little bit disappointing to see that it's introducing Genesis, the innovative suite of technologies and processes within Star Engine that breathe new life into truly immersive worlds, achieving the fidelity and scale required to fill an entire universe. It sounds again like more tech, showing the world tech versus showing the backers, what we can expect from the gameplay implications of this. I mean, this obviously is hopefully diving deeper into what you can expect from the faster creation of planets and content in the future, because it talks about all the things within Star Engine that breathe life into the world. So hopefully this is going to come with a lot more gameplay and content implications versus look at how good our big, wide, vast, open spaces with no gameplay in look now. I'm hoping it's more like, here's all the amazing content and crap we can create quickly and put in the verse with this technology. So that, and then Social Universe is after that. And this is an interesting one. It's the people you meet and the bonds you form that truly bring the verse to life. Dive into how we're evolving social features to maximize your adventures, from personal one-on-one interactions to massive gatherings with hundreds and even thousands of players. Not really sure what to make of this one. I'm assuming a lot of this is going to be Spectrum. Like on the low end, my lowest expectations is that this is going to be discussing a lot of Spectrum and Spectrum integration into the game finally. And maybe the higher expectations that we might see some org systems finally that they intend to bring to the game, or that they have developed to some level at this point. Probably obviously not ready to go in, but I'm hoping this one includes finally a look at what we can expect from in-game org systems, from personal one-on-one interactions to massive gatherings with hundreds and even thousands of players. It might even be looking at future dynamic events they've been working on, or other dynamic events they've been working on. I don't know, but my lowest expectation is that this is some sort of update to, or some sort of Spectrum integration into the game, quite possibly. But yes, I'm hoping mostly for org-based, some sort of org functions, org features, ideally. Sorry, let me move over to this one here. 2954 cosplay competition, sponsored by Toby, apparently, which is pretty cool. But we all know what this entails. You'll never beat the Baghead cosplay from 2019. So, the cosplay competition's already peaked for me with Baghead guy. So that's all I need to know about that. Dressed to Kill. Now this is there's a lot of interpretation on this one you can muster. Dressed to Kill, from high fashion to dynamic function. Discover starwear. Everything has star in front of it. Discover starwear, and exciting new character-focused specializations that let you define your identity and take on the challenges ahead, including the return of a legendary friend from CitizenCon's past. Now, high fashion, obviously, new clothing to dynamic function. Obviously, that's got to be like armor and clothing and how those things might interact with actual gameplay features in the game. How you interact with movement, wearing certain armor, how you interact with your cockpit seat You know, if you're wearing heavy armor, you shouldn't be able to jump in a cockpit seat. They've said that many times over the years. If you want to fly a ship, you need to be in a flight suit, right? If you want to appeal to certain NPCs, you need to dress a certain way or smell a certain way. Hygiene plays a factor in that. They talked about it last year, hygiene, where, you know, NPCs will react to you differently if you stink or if you look like a bum. That kind of stuff. I'm assuming this would be a little bit more elaboration on that. Character-focused specializations that let you define your identity and take on the challenges ahead. This could be more talk about the skill system that Richard Tyra talked about with Chris Roberts, 2952, I think that was, where, you know, the skill system was discussed in greater detail. We've known about it for a little while, but they talked about how running around a lot or carrying heavy things increases your strength, and that maybe you could be better at resisting certain levels of G's if you're in the cockpit more often, in the fighter seat, pulling crazy G's more often, right? They talked about how the skill system will work in that way. Won't be any like plus 10 damage kind of skill buffs, but there will be like these increases to the things that you do on a regular basis to make you better at them. Takedowns was a big thing that they talked about, where, you know, if you first started out, you would doing takedowns, you do it really sloppy, it would take a long time, like you wouldn't kill the guy straight away. But if you did like 100 takedowns, you'd eventually like unlock a new animation. It would be really swift, really quick, really clean, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of level of skills they're talking about in the game. So maybe they'll talk a little bit more about that. Yeah, and then the last part of that is a legendary friend, including the return of a legendary friend from CitizenCon's past. I honestly don't know. A legendary friend from CitizenCon's past. Who is someone that's shown up at CitizenCon only? Sandworm, yes. So yeah, Dress to Kill, pretty good. And then Beyond Pyro to the fantastic reaches beyond Stanton and Pyro. CIG knows it cannot talk about Pyro anymore. It has to talk about Beyond Pyro and Stanton, so we can start the road to Beyond Pyro, because that's next year's presentations. The road to Beyond, the journey to Beyond. It's going to be a long road. So yeah, Beyond Pyro. Obviously, what are your predictions, guys? We've had this discussion quite a bit. Nyx is, I think, a guarantee. They've probably really spruced up Levski over the few years that we haven't had Levski. They got rid of Delamar when they introduced Microtech. And then since then, they've introduced a ton of other shit. But remember, they put in Microtech and they said that the game couldn't handle the entities of having Microtech and Delamar. So they took Delamar out. We've since had so much more stuff put into the game. So clearly they've been holding Delamar back to deliver it with meshing at some point in the future. And no doubt they've been fleshing it out. I hope they've been fleshing it out. There's always Odin. Odin is a possibility, but it isn't connected to any of the roots commander. But then again, I don't think Nyx is. I think Odin is quite a few jumps away. Where's Nyx connected to? I'd have to check the star map again. But with Nyx, you can add the 9 systems from Squadron 42. It connects in 2 directions to those systems. Odin being connected to Nyx. Ah, Odin is connected to Nyx. Good shout. Good shout. Yeah. I mean, Odin, we're going to look at this later. Today, we're going to look at the vertical slice, the Squadron 42 vertical slice, and we'll see Odin. It's quite, they've done a lot there. Like, that's a detailed, they showed us a detailed planet and a detailed surface mission. Could well be used in SC and could well be quite fleshed out, quite far along. Did they decide we aren't getting Squadron 42 this year again? We are not getting Squadron 42 this year, but I think we are getting a date. Or at least an estimated quarterly estimate, right? And that's what this is. Redacted. This is obviously the... Where has it gone? This is obviously the Squadron 42 presentation. Chris Roberts, you know, Squadron 42, 2 more years. I think this is got to be Squadron 42. There's nothing else it could be. It's got UEE all over it. Like Skink said in chat, it won't be, I don't think it will be like an updated vertical slice. Could be. I don't think it would be. but I also don't think they're going to show us too much new stuff. So I reckon they might show a little bit of Squadron 42, but this whole presentation might be more geared towards basically outlining the road to Squadron 42. But yeah, I think this presentation is really going to be more about, I think anyway, a bit of Squadron 42, updated look, updated trailer with some sort of release date, and then they're probably going to be outlining the road to Squadron 42's release, is what I would say. So that's day one. What I think we can expect from day one. Then there's day two, the Destiny You Forge, and this looks like quite the meaty day. Even though it's shorter, it's quite meaty. So 10 a.m., sorry, crafting your home. Now, crafting your home is obviously some updates coming for base building and your homemaking, I hope. Homesteading. It says explore the fundamentals of crafting and base building, including how they combine to enable new opportunities for players and ultimately create the future of life among the stars. So explore the fundamentals of crafting and base building. So pretty cool. I think we're obviously going to see most likely concepted stuff and demos. I expect this to be more like a buffed up ISC look at like development of base building and crafting. I don't think there's going to be anything tangible or within reach in this segment, considering they only just started base building last year. And this is interesting because they just started base building last year and Todd Pappy was leading the whole thing. Todd Pappy was leading the charge. He's not there anymore.
Come on, I can't hear you. All right, there we go. So
it's going to be interesting.
We'll be talking today about something special. It's an update on something that we talked about a little while ago, but we feel it's the future of Star Citizen, and it's the culmination of multiple different game systems coming together. So why don't you play the video?
Now, this was obviously very, very conceptual visual demo of base building, right? And this, they had only just started developing this last year. So whatever we see this year, I don't think it's going to be much past this. It might be some in-game foundations, some sort of in-progress construction of base building. Yeah, day 2 is the bigger day, in my opinion. True fire. Todd was just, ultimately managing it, but he seemed like he took a lot of ownership and pride in it. And I wonder if him leaving has affected its momentum. Yeah, that's fair, Aristan. Yeah, base building is an easy mechanic. Yeah, I guess it really depends how they... This is CIG we're talking about. They redefine they like to redesign the wheel on everything. I imagine you're going to have to place every brick by brick to build a freaking base knowing CIG. But no, I would be perfectly happy with prefab placement and slow construction of buildings, initially at least. Yeah, so we'll likely see a little bit more elaboration on blueprints as well. I hope so anyway. Holy shit. More things about how, we'll probably bring different minerals, different resources to the site to contribute to the construction of whatever it is you're building, whatever prefab building, whatever you've placed planetside to construct. You probably have to bring resources to it. You have to use certain ship to build it, like somebody said in chat, like the Pioneer, it's like a 3D printer, basically. Maybe a little bit more about the blueprints, obviously. I don't know. I think this is going to be cool to hear more about it, but I don't think we're going to see much that's tangible.
So from here, you've got the tools. So this is what we would consider a surveyor. With this, we want to actually cater to everybody's playstyle, whether you're solo or in an org. With this, you've got different buildings that you can produce, from small, medium to large to XL or XL. So with the surveyor tool, you can only build the small buildings. With a vehicle, you can build small and medium-sized buildings. With the Galaxy, you can build small to large structures.
Yep.
And then obviously with the Pioneer, Pioneer can do it all.
Yeah, so this is important because they talk about showing off some of these vehicles in the panels coming up next week as well. So if we go back here and then we go here again, Captains of Industry, uncover the ships and ground vehicles that will serve as your primary tools for base building in the verse, revisit a classic, and more. So they're obviously going to be shilling the hell out of these base building ships and obviously a new base building ground vehicle right after this presentation. And we'll learn a little bit more about how these vehicles will actually tie into creating and building. These are obviously going to get elaborated on in the next panel. And it still works
as a mobile base, and we'll talk about some of the more expanded features that we're adding to it and later on. So, and then it's also, we're exploring what can be done.
It took them 6 months to, excuse me, 6 months to do Zeus. How long has it taken to do the Polaris? When in God's green earth do you expect to see the Pioneer? I cannot imagine how far on the backlog this ship is. The Galaxy is likely going to be before the Pioneer, which means if the Galaxy is before the Pioneer, it means you're not going to be able to build any extra large structures for a long time. This can only build up to large. They likely, brought out the Galaxy concept for the purpose, for the reason that they can't get the Pioneer done anytime soon. They needed something else to come out in time for some sort of tier 0 base building, and using an RSI ship would be the most logical one since they're so far ahead in the RSI pipeline that an RSI base building ship would be the one they'd be able to make the quickest, I guess. The Galaxy will likely be out way before the Pioneer, and the Pioneer's consolidated Outland. God, what CO ships have we even had? Is it just the Mustang series? No, we had something else not long ago. I mean, that ship pipeline is crusty. It's old crusty. Nomad, that was it, the Nomad. Thank you, little old Nomad. So yeah, I don't know, man. The Pioneer, very far out. Extra large structures. Galaxy probably before that. And then the ground vehicle will probably be everybody's primary way to build structures for a very long time, I would say. So yeah, that's crafting your home. And that's Captains of Industry combined into one. Uncover the ships and ground vehicles that will serve as your primary tools for base building in the verse. Revisit a classic and more. I don't know what revisit a classic means. I think that's the Pioneer. I think that's an updated look at the Pioneer. I hope so. And then what we all expected, what we've been saying since the beginning, the 1.0 roadmap. The stars, my destination. Star Citizen 1.0. PvP, PvE, non-combat. What type of game is Star Citizen? Year 12, we're finally going to find out, guys. 12 years in, they're finally going to tell us. We're all finally going to understand what the hell we threw money at all these years. But what type of game is Star Citizen? If you want answers, join us as we outline a high-level overview of Star Citizen 1.0 and what our intentions are for our epic shared universe. This is going to be interesting. This will be a real eye-opener. This will be good. This will be them hopefully having a new vision, a new guideline that we can hold them accountable to moving forward. Like, I think this will be good. This will be a real eye-opener. It will be bittersweet, I think, as well for some people. Some people might not like what they have to say here. They'll obviously try to appeal to as many people as possible, but I just hope that they kind of outline their vision, and it's something we can kind of hold them accountable to moving forward. And I also think whatever they outline for 1.0, it'll be a long time away. When Chris gave us that letter from the chairman, I was like, oh, wow, maybe we'll get like 1.0 in like 2 or 3 years. I mean, that was when? Beginning of 2024? I was like, yeah, maybe 2 or 3 years. We might see like an early 1.0, but I don't know anymore. After this whole year, I think 1.0 is even further away. I think a lot of 1.0's release will depend on how successful Squadron 42 is. If Squadron 42 does really well, they can take a little bit longer with 1.0 maybe. If Squadron 42 bombs, then we get like a worse 1.0. I don't know. That's just my guess, but they won't give us anything concrete date-wise. It's probably going to be more about them skirting around the future of the game, what they really envision now, bringing all the features together that they've shown us over the last couple of years. And that'll be it. I don't expect like an estimate or release date. Just a sort of loose roadmap or guide. But yes, that's that. That's the schedule. That's what I think we can expect from CitizenCon next week. It's only next week. It's 274 hours away. 174 hours away, everybody. What an exciting time to be alive. Like I said before, I'm going to be going in with as much containment of hype as possible. I'll be taking notes with a critical eye. But, it's going to be an interesting weekend. It's going to be an interesting weekend nonetheless. But yes, thank you. Thanks, guys, for indulging me on that. Thanks for sharing your thoughts. Very good. Very good.